You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul, the Eck.
Together we are Rollins. And it is time for AEW Dynamite review. Finally, like every single show, one show a day. So that's okay. We had NXT yesterday, so now AEW Dynamite. A show that, like you said, in the very stock card, very good matches, and of course the endings are not good. There's always interference. There's always backstage stuff. Everybody comes out. It never can be a singles match. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, this show, I would say if I'm judging it just based off match quality alone, from bell to bell, Dynamite I think was a better show this week. But, every match has to end. Somebody runs in, somebody gets beat down, somebody just oh, you want a match? Well, here I am cutting a promo. It's nothing can just end the match, the bell rings, raise the hand, go to the next segment.
And that's it. Yes, exactly. You're right. So, family, thank you so very much for being with us. Thank you for keep subscribing. Thank you for keep watching those videos. Thank you for all of that. We really appreciate it. And, the best way to repay you is to just from giving the best content possible. Like we said, the NXT was yesterday. Kyle O'Reilly shows his killer instinct right now. That he's trying to look for it. He's eyeing to what is going to be Karrion Kross. So that could be the next, the championship opportunity for him. And also Sheray's debut. So, like you said, a pretty decent show. And also, the rankings, the rating that they had, it was actually really decent this week. It's almost 900,000. So that's good.
Yeah, I still think, though, I can see AEW having probably maybe 1.1, 1.09, something like that. I can see them still having over 1 million.
Oh yeah, this show, pretty good. Like I said, NXT, Alicia Reyes, Kyle O'Reilly, Santos Escobar was in the middle of it. But like you said, Dynamite also had I think better card when it comes to that. So let's open that poll with the first match, and this is absolute, and that is not the vodka or anything like that. Absolute Ricky Starks against Hangman Page. And Hangman Page, this match was actually really, really, really good. Why? Because two guys that know how to dance, and when you have two guys that know how to dance, it's going to be a really good piece, right?
Exactly. Hangman Adam Page ranked number 1, and he's been a favorite of mine. I know that you like him as well. It's just with his involvement with the Dark Order, it's I feel like it brought him down, but still, when the bell rings, this guy can go. Ricky Starks is fantastic as well. Taz was on commentary. He's always good on commentary, even though I feel like Taz is he's too much. We saw him how many times tonight. It's again overexposure of a lot of these guys, but this match was still fantastic, and the right winner here, Hangman Adam Page.
Exactly. The right winner, and of course, the only thing is kind of sucks to be Ricky Starks is he can never win a match, especially to a big name, and this was the case because he put out a great show. Adam Hangman Page also, but like you said, this guy is probably the guy that's going to take the title from Kenny Omega. So they slowly building, wins out over everybody. That way he can say, hey, there's nobody else but you. So it's they make it so obvious that he's going to challenge Kenny Omega, and most likely he will be the one, you mentioned, why 6 months ago he will kick out from the One Wing Angel. That's why they have Adam Hangman Page. That's kind of a light, but like you said, of course they has to the Dark Order needs to come out. So everything every time that there's something good, the essence is pretty good, but when you get everybody else out, you kind of get lost into it. So that's
I also like the finish of this. Hangman, he didn't hit the buckshot or anything. He did hit some forearms, some lariats and stuff, but no buckshot lariat, no deadeye. It was a new submission. He kind of had him almost like a crossface, but it was just in the elbow. He was pulling him back on the chin, and then he hooked the leg as well, so he was pulling him from both ends. Ricky Starks taps out, and like you said, Taz gets on commentary. He's oh, you're bullshit, blah, 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 talking to him. Then Hook takes him down. Brian Cage comes out, big power bomb, and then the Dark Order. So you're okay, Team Taz versus the Dark Order and Hangman Page. Okay, but wait, aren't they also feuding with Christian Cage? Aren't they also feuding with? It's too much. Finish one feud before you move on to the next one. Because I can easily just see them throwing Christian in the mix, and we'll probably see a tag team: Brian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Hangman Adam Page and Christian.
Yes. Now, the one thing, like you said, is it's a lot of storylines combined, and you need to finish one feud to give me another one. It's a lot of confusion. At least how I see it. I know you see it the same way.
Yeah.
So if you will keep it more, just singles feuds, if you can keep it easier. And I'm not saying that it's complicated to follow. I'm just saying it's a lot more easier for the viewer to enjoy, because oh, these guys come out, all these guys come out, oh, now they're gonna have a feud. So it's just too convenient.
And it just makes sense that you would only have one feud. When in wrestling have you ever seen somebody feud with multiple people at the
Yes,
same time?
and when you do that, when you see that, you are like Walter, and then every the one feud takes from the other one. It never
Yes,
looks
exactly.
good. So let's talk about now the next match that we have, and that's El Pentas Cero Miedo going against Trent. And this was actually another great match. Trent coming back from the injury, the best friends are reunited, all of that. And Pentas Cero Miedo with Alex, like he's like the Spanish guy that like does with Daisy Fuentes. He does the Spanish show, so he's actually his translator also. So he got a little involvement in the match. Kind of, I don't like that too much, just because it's like he's a journalist, so he should just stay neutral and then just call the action. But I guess he's becoming like more a non-screen character. That's okay. Like you said, what about like this question mark here? Is he trying to like pay homage to question mark, or what's going on here?
Yeah, well, I think he always had that, but it's just his return, and now Justin Roberts, when he's announcing his name, he's like Trent, and he says it in a way like there's a question mark at the end
asking
of
a
it.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then even JR, because like you and I had both said, and everybody with a brain, they can tell that JR is just going through the motions. He's waiting for his contract to be up, and he's going to get out of there because he is always just, like you said, low key throwing shade on all this stuff. He's like, "What's up with Trent's name?" He's like, what is that? And Excalibur's like, "Oh, I don't even think Trent knows." It's like, shut up, Excalibur. But no, I mean, this was good. The only major complaints I have is what I have with every Penta match. He has a guy either on the ropes or like out, and a lot of times it's outside. It's the same spot. The guy's leaning up against the ring post, slowly takes off the glove, slowly puts his hand back and goes for the chop. And of course, the guy's going to dodge it, and then his hand hits the ring post, and he's like, "Ow, my hand!" Like, well, why did you take 45 seconds to hit a chop on the guy? Just chop it. Don't do the bullshit taking off the glove. I know it's his thing, and maybe he gets a big pop in Mexico, but it doesn't get a big pop for me. So, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, otherwise, I mean, I thought this match was good. The involvement with Alex is just, it confirms him as a heel, and it does suck because it would have been nice to see a match just go clean. But did we see a match go clean on this entire show tonight?
No, that's what
yeah,
you said.
so,
the
referees are useless. The
referees
are completely useless.
Up to the end, every single match is just like interference, like something bad, so something like outside of like the match should like always happens. And like I said, Alex got involved. He beat him with like the microphone. He also like said, Penta, in the middle of the match, he stopped that and he said, Penta says that you suck, that like Orange Cassidy sucks, and your mother sucks too. So like it's throwing more like heel heat to all of that. So Penta in the end wins, at least the package pile driver, he hit that, so that's good, and he gets another win. But like that, the feud is continuing. We're going.
And what happened? What happened to the feud with Cody? Remember when he's like, "Oh, Cody, I'm going to break your arm. You won't be able to hold your baby." Like 2-week feud and done.
Oh, well, like I think that like Cody's just like waiting for the baby to be born, so he maybe took a break. There's a lot of like Brandy's pictures.
But then why wouldn't you have Penta go over and beat the shit out of him and be like an injury angle?
Yeah, no, but because like they got to look good for themselves, that. So unfortunately, in a lot of cases, that's what happens. A little lazy booking. Cody is the kind of guy that needs to improve, like I kind of put over guys. Why is like if I'm not going to be there, I'm already like in charge. I'm already calling the shots. Hey, you know what? I don't need to be the main star all the time. So now let's go with like the Pinnacle, and they were going to be interviewed by like Jim Ross, and MJF says that like Chris Jericho hangs around B's to make himself look like an A, while actually wrestling A's that make him look like a B. So like another one decent promo by MJF. Also, MJF says that like the famous Jericho rub is a lie created by Jericho, and that Jericho involves himself with top level wrestlers in an attempt to take credit for their joint power. Kenny Omega, Adam Hammer Page, Cody Rhodes, and now MJF. Also, Wardlow cut like a decent promo too. Like the first time like he actually has more than one line. Right?
Oh yeah, Wardlow was good. He pretty much said, "Yeah, Chris Jericho, when you were running down everybody you got to me, and you were stumbling over your words because you didn't really know what to say, because there isn't anything you can say against me." So Wardlow's pretty much just saying like, "I'm badass. You have nothing to say against me. No Tully here tonight." Maybe Tully's like, "I'm done with this bullshit." we didn't see him here, so But this was still a very good promo. MJF fired up. And, he's one of the best promos, if not, you could argue he's the best promo in AEW. Yeah. The only problem is he had his head run through a soda machine, and then he got a swirly in a toilet. So to me, anything he says now is like, yeah, but you got beat up, so it doesn't matter.
But like you said, it's they need to like portray their guys a little better.
Yeah, this should have all been they beat the Inner Circle up like they did, and then it should have been just beating up other guys. And then Jim Ross is sitting down here like, hey, what's the deal with you guys? Like, why do you just keep beating up people, blah, blah, blah. And then MJF could have cut pretty much the same promo and been like, Jericho, you're scared. If you're a man, you're going to come back and face us, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, because Blood and Guts shouldn't be on free TV. We've been saying it should be a pay-per-view, and then you should build this for a while, maybe 3-4 weeks before the pay-per-view. Jericho comes back. Maybe he takes out Shawn Spears, takes out whoever. They can have Tyson with them then if they want and be like, at Blood and Guts, blah, blah, blah. Tyson's going to be the ref, and then you book the match there.
Yeah, exactly. Like give it a little more room to grow
the fact that the babyface has already beat him up, to me the feud's over.
Is weak.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking that what they're going to do, a Blood and Guts, the Pinnacle, if they want the Pinnacle to actually be something, they're going to have to overpower.
They need to go over for that group to survive.
If they want to continue the feud, they want to continue being a staple. So we'll see what happens on that. So now let's go to the women's championship match. We had 2 championship matches, today, and it was Hikaru Shida against Tay Conti. A pretty good match. Tay is still, a little green in the ring, but she keeps improving. I see a lot of offense right now in this particular match. Different offense also, not the same moves all the time. He tries for a lot of submissions because she has a lot of background on that. And also a pretty powerful knee strike. So good stuff on that. And Hikaru, well, she always gives us good showing. The one thing everybody kicks out of the Falcon Arrow. So I'm really? I mean, she tried that to be the finisher. Now she has another one a Kitana. And also, so that was a little different for me. But what did you think about the match?
Oh, I mean, the match was good. Tay Conti, I've been saying every week, she keeps getting better. She's like Anna Jay, which it's, funny they're best friends, or still are best friends, but it's they keep getting better every time I see them wrestle. And you can tell she wants to do this. She's athletic with the background, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There we go. Yeah, the Jiu-Jitsu background and just everything else. She's really good. Sheeta, you and I are both big fans of her. And this match, it actually surprised me with how good it was. I didn't think it was going to be the shits, but it was better, than I thought. And, like you said, the offense, the forearms that these women deliver, the suplexes, they're not going out there and it's just, hair pulling and bullshit. No, they're actually wrestling good. The go to Kai or the go to sleep or whatever, or go to Conti, whatever the hell they call it. Yeah, whatever they call it, she has that kind of move. And, like you said, the Falcon Arrow, all this stuff. But I do kind of like the katana, that kind of sidekick she does.
Yes.
Almost like a sickle.
It's like a spinning heel kick. Yeah,
almost. But she does. Yeah, I wish it was like X-Pac's spinning heel kick. I thought that was badass when he did when he jumped and kicked. But I mean, I don't know what was wrong with the Tamashi knee strike. What? But I mean, hey, that's cool though to see the champ keep changing her offense and stuff. So I wish they would have sold it more. Sheeta says she has a new finishing move, blah blah blah. They were just oh, the katana. What? We never heard of this before. So,
yes.
At least I did.
Feel they're trying to maybe in increment. They're trying to have more things in her arsenal, to have different things then depending on the person that she's facing with, things like that. But like you said, I like that. And at the end, she gets the win. Of course, did we think otherwise? No, because there's no way. I mean, I think that they're trying to at least give her the opportunity. Like you said, she's good in the eye for a lot of guys, and also they want to win in that demographic. So that's fine. But she did not look bad. So that's something that is.
And she's another one too. If they introduce tag belts in this company for the women, I could easily see her and Anna Jay being the inaugural women's tag champs. And I do think she'll be the women's champ at some point. But the feud going right now is what we saw, because every match has to have something going on afterwards. I think this is, the next women's champ you're looking at. Britt Baker came out, and she was like, oh, I'm ranked number 2. Conti was ranked number 1. And then you saw the power rankings change because Conti lost. So, that moves Britt Baker up to number 1. So, maybe the week of Blood and Guts, maybe we'll see this match. I don't know. But if they do it, you got to pull the trigger on Baker now. You can't keep having her be in these matches and losing.
They have to do it.
Because then it makes her heel, and saying, oh, I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. That falls on deaf ears. That's like the boy who cried wolf. You can't keep saying it and nothing happens.
Exactly. No, you are absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. So now let's go to the Inner Circle. The Pinnacle had their segment, so now the Inner Circle has their segment. And, they address the Pinnacle and talk about how they're going to teach them a lesson in violence and Blood and Guts. Jericho says that next week the 2 factions will have a parlay where they will go the rules over like Bloods and Gods match. Jericho also was singing a song, all of that, like talking about MJF, how he's a good promo, but he's a jerk off. That's what he said, right? He's a jerk off of a friend, and you know, like Santana had actually.
Yeah, he keeps calling him his jerk off friend, which I don't need to know what KRIS and MJF did in KRIS's bedroom with each other. Like, I don't need to know that, but apparently he wants the world to know. But anyway.
But at least Santana had like good lines. Remember, like Santana was like, "Oh, like we're gonna see your blood, and we're gonna see also if you guys have heart." So at least Santana, out of all of them,
Santana to me is badass. If he would, now I don't ever want to see him and Ortiz split because they're a legit tag team. But if you turned him babyface in a singles run, he'd be badass.
Santana is great. Great. Yeah, Santana has the whole all the package. Like you said, maybe Ortiz is just like you said, like like the weakest link out of the tag team. But like at least Santana
you hate to use this term, but Ortiz to me is like the Marty Jannetty or the Matt Hardy to Santana's Jeff Hardy.
Yes, absolutely right. So like they kept saying that. Sammy was also like saying something in Spanish. Like Jake Hager, it's okay. But like the only thing that we see, like also Jericho mentioned that like MJF in 2 weeks, he's gonna beat the living hell out of you. All of that. So like we see the inner circle kind of trying to go over. It's fine. I mean, like you said, it shouldn't be on free TV. That's the main complaint that we have.
And no Mike Tyson. I guess Tony Khan's money was running a little thin this week. He couldn't afford Mike Tyson.
Like you said, like for example, to me, like if I have to see Mike Tyson every single week, that makes it even worse. It's absolutely like.
It's not 1998 anymore. I don't want to see Tyson at all.
And they don't have the money like to spend with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Wouldn't you rather have like Conor McGregor or some like actual like legit guy who's like current versus Mike Tyson who's like?
But you said it. I mean, maybe if the budget is running low with Mike, even imagine if Conor McGregor will show up there. That will make the money, and then we'll see releases on AEW the next week. Oh yeah, 9 people have been released. Oh, Impact, here we go. So like let's move to the next one, Paul. Like Billy Gunn against QT Marshall. This was an okay match. I don't want to say it was the greatest thing ever because it wasn't, but at least Billy Gunn till this up to his age, in the age that he's currently right now, he can still have good matches. Billy, what a wasted opportunity in WWE. If the guy would have learned how to cut decent promos, another story will be telling about him. But like QT, he has nothing going for him. That's why they made this stable. Like you said, AEW has so much roster, so many guys that they need to put him on stable so they can actually have something to do on TV. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Billy looks great, like you said, for his age and everything. He's what, 6'4", 6'5". He's like a giant compared to the rest of the roster, who's like all under 5'4". Like they're all midgets, and so he towers over these guys. In this match, it really, as soon as it started to get going, is kind of when it ended because it was they were just bullshit going on, and they were just pretty much setting up for what we're going to see next week. But Billy Gunn, I think, looks great, and I wish they would do more with him, but he kind of just got grouped into the Nightmare family for whatever reason. I don't get that connection. Maybe because Cody trains his kids. I don't really know why he's in there. I would rather just see him kind of on his own doing something, but
exactly. And we got to see Ogogo was the guy that hit like another like the punch because like he is like a boxer, so he hit that on Billy. That allowed QT Marshall to hit like the Diamond Cutter, and and 1, 2, 3 he gets the win. And then we actually see, like you said, like the Dusty coming out, like the Nightmare family coming out to save Billy because there are actually more interactions. Like you said, another wasted segment because everybody comes out. It's the same thing. It's like, can you guys keep at least one match without interference from the outside? It doesn't matter where the match ended. It doesn't matter if it's mid-match. It's just like have the match just both guys. Maybe just have a stare down later or like maybe a video package, but not every single time the whole roster needs to come out. So like Dustin goes up after QT with bull rope. But then you got to see Nick Camarado steps out to Dustin. Dustin then just like actually tried to hit it with a wooden chair, and the chair completely just busted, and nothing happened with Camarado. So you see next week they're gonna have a match, or in 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, and it's gonna hopefully QT Marshall, hopefully his group goes over because they need to. Again, you got to solidify these guys, and if they do, I can see Cody coming back, having his match with QT, and just beating him, and then QT's group will just be nothing. But we'll see where they go with this. I'm interested in some of it. Like, Dustin's good. I like seeing him on TV. I like seeing Billy Gunn, but
exactly.
that's about as far as
you can't get fully invested because you're going to get disappointed. It's kind of like that new relationship. You want to get full into it, but maybe not yet.
Yeah.
You want to go memory lane, Paul, and let's talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin and the DX Express. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Is this John Moxley and also Kingston going against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and all of that? No reference about the match at Rebellion. That's a big problem because don't you want to make that match a huge deal? Why don't you mention that on your show also? So it seems to me it's one-sided relationship. It's just like Impact is like, yeah, we're going to feature your guys. We're going to make you guys look good. But when it times is it's not reciprocate because it should have been maybe like you said, Rick Swann coming in with Moxley and Kingston rather than just see these two guys. And the title match with Kingston with Rick Swann, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and you could have booked this almost the same, but made it so much better. The Elite was in there, they're partying with chicks, or at least they brought chicks in, and then they're like, no, go away, this is the little boys club, no women allowed. And, then they're just talking shit, saying, oh, aren't Moxley and Kingston supposed to be back? And, Nick Jackson and Matt Jackson are trying to be tough, talking shit on them. And then you see this, like you said, boom, the truck hits the side of their trailer. They start breaking,
Express,
they start breaking the windows. They're like, oh, they're not even here. They're a bunch of little bitches. So you should have had the Elite come out and been like, dude, it's 6 of us, 5 unless you count Don Callis, 6. They're like, it's 6 of us versus you 2. Like, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to beat your ass down again. That's when you have, because AEW always loves to do the big jumps and the craziness. That's when you have Rich Swann on top of the trailer, and they're like, oh, we didn't come alone. And he dives off the top of the trailer, takes out the Elite, they catch him and stuff. Then Kingston and Moxley start beating him down, and then that surprise, kind of gives them the advantage. And it's like, oh, that would have been legit. Because, like you said, when do we see Impact talent besides the Good Brothers on this show? You don't.
Exactly, and it should be reciprocal. So, if it is an alliance, it should be, like you said, maybe Diana Perazzo, maybe Grace, maybe anybody else, maybe TJP, somebody just going into this show and trying to cause something. But, the fact that there was no mention at all, oh, Kenny Omega might lose the title on Sunday.
And what did we compare it to? The same thing, oh, Ciampa Walter, everybody's losing their mind. But then the day after was Ciampa Rampage Brown, and everyone's like, so...
And in this case, Impact is not the one to blame. It's AEW the one to blame.
Yeah.
They're not, you don't see that reciprocal relationship. You don't see it because Impact is like, hey, Kenny Omega is a big deal.
Especially considering Kenny Omega is probably going to win their belt.
Yeah. Kenny Omega is like, oh, Mauro Ranallo is going to call the match. Audrey Edwards is going to be the ref because, oh, Tony Khan doesn't trust any one of her refs. We're going to bring Audrey so she can be the one of the ref. So you see everything, but you don't see anything coming back. No. So I don't like that at all. I don't like that. And I just feel it's one-sided. And, it's starting to be, if there's no Impact guys coming out, it's going to be just a wasted attempt. It's just like, hey, you can use us, but like I told you, you can be on my show all the time, but I can never be on your own. No, it doesn't matter. No, it's not good. So let's go with Powerhouse Hobbs against Christian Case. What did you think of this? Because I think Christian looks okay, but you can tell the age. You can tell that Father Time is starting to hit right there. I don't see the same Christian. I see that maybe Powerhouse Hobbs in the world without the world of kayfabe. Outside of that, it would have been a squash match, at least for me.
Oh yeah, I mean Christian definitely sold for this guy, and he put Hobbs over in the sense that he dominated most of the match. And then, of course, at the end, Christian makes his comeback, and then he wins. But if you're going off of just, what was going on in the match, there's no way that Hobbs should have been beat up enough and been, just beat up, like I said, to lose this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's it wasn't like it was even. It wasn't like Christian was, back and forth. Christian sold for him, got his ass kicked, which I think was the way it should have been. Like you said, if you just look at Hobbs, look at Christian, obviously Hobbs is going to be kicking his ass, but they got to put over Christian, which is the right thing to do, because you don't debut this guy, outwork everyone. He kind of had to stare down with Omega just to lose here. But the match was good, but like you said, maybe Father Time, or maybe just the way they booked this match, planned it out. Hobbs is really green too. He has all the talent and potential in the world, but he's still really green. Maybe that has something to do with it, but because the match that he had with Kazarian was badass.
It was.
That was one of the greatest matches I think we've seen in the past how many weeks on Dynamite. So you can't blame Christian, I think, fully, but this was all right, and it made Hobbs look good, which is only good.
But like you said, it's just more like Hobbs 90%, and then just hit the I'm prettier and done.
Yeah, frog splash, I'm prettier and done.
And also they had to stare down with Absolute with Ricky Stark. So you see, okay, so absolutely they're gonna have a match either next week or in 2 weeks. So we'll see. Or like you see, like again, like you mentioned, like Team Taz, like all over the place, feuding with absolutely
that's what I think.
everybody.
They're just setting it up, like Hangman versus Brian Cage, Christian Cage versus Ricky Starks. Cage. Cage,
Cage, all Cage. Yeah, the Cages against the Pages. Yeah, there's so many like similarities. Exactly. So like, let's go over with like next week, like you said. One feud that is still continues because all the feuds continue in the Dynamite. Penta is gonna go now against Orange Cassidy. Penta needs to go over. Keep building this guy. Now that you're using like Alex in like an on-screen thing, have Penta go over. Cassidy doesn't need any wins or losses. The character is untouchable. People love it regardless, so that's okay. Whatever. So now we're going to see also the Bucks. They are going against Mike Seidel. There's going to be a tag team championship match. So, okay.
And I'm pretty sure we saw this match like a month or so ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So we saw this exact match. I don't know if it was for the belts, but I know we saw this match. So when I saw it, I'm like, hold on, am I having like a Back to the Future or like what's going on here? But like, Marty McFly, what's going on? But I mean, this will still be a good match. But again, we just saw it.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about the world of the Pages, Brian Cage against Hangman Page. So like it is again, the feud is still brewing between like Team Taz going against all these guys that like supposedly are single or don't have anything going. So this is going to be a good match also. But I feel that like another time that Brian Cage is going to be jobbed out. So this guy probably is like completely like regretting like moving to AEW, and maybe he's just calling Scott D'Amore, can I come back by the time of anniversary? Can I come back? He's just like, fuck the world.
Yeah, he's exactly. Like, and this match I could easily see ending in a DQ or ending in some kind of bullshit. Like I said, maybe Ricky Starks gets involved, Christian, then the whole Dark Order, and then they book some crazy match, 8-man tag, 10-man tag.
Yeah, so remember we saw Miro also. We saw Miro kind of another legit promo. So like you said, this is how Miro should have been booked. He's just like talking, which championship is it going to go start challenging? So you see, like that's the kind of Miro that they should have just gave us from the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
not this like the best man, all of that,
Yeah, so, Miro's promo was great because I forget what he called Omega. He's like some, loser who's, teaming with Impact or, some little emo punk bitch, for Darby Allin. He's like with his daddy in face paint. He's like, I don't care whose belt it is, but I'm coming for it. And that's like you said, that's what he should have been in the beginning. Hopefully they do something with him. Hopefully TNT Championship. And, because Miro, you got to, use him. If not, he's just going to be another one of these WWE guys who you sign immediately that just, fades into obscurity.
Yes, and also, like, that's why we mentioned Miro, because Kris Statlander is going to go on Penelope 4, and like you see, completely isolated from Miro, so Kip Sabian is going to come back to Dynamite, so maybe Miro comes out and then he beats him. We'll see what happens. Cassidy is going to be by Statlander's corner. God knows why. No, they're all best friends.
To me, that doesn't make sense, because, okay, that's the best friends are kind of feuding with Penta, but then are we going to see Orange Cassidy still feuding with Kip Sabian?
One wrestler, multiple segments. You know what that's called? Lazy booking. Instead of having everybody come out at the same time and then just be loose, how don't like just book every single guy to be featured prominently? At least my thing on that. We're going to see the Inner Circle, like I said, the parlay against the Pinnacle. So they're going to kind of go over the rules about, the Blood and Gods match. So we'll see what happens on that. So, like, take me to the main event, because Darby Allin, for the second week in a row, he's actually headlining Dynamite, defending the TNT Championship, and I'll tell you the why. TNT Championship, TNT the network. So that's why they did it 2 weeks in a row. Hazy is the champion of the network. Don't they call that? So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, at least a good match. Pretty good match.
Yeah, this match is great. Jungle Boy is so legit. I only had really one major problem with this match, but, and to me, this makes sense to be the main event. Nothing against the women and the women's title, but like you said, this is the TNT Championship. It's on TNT, and, there's no world title match. Kenny Omega didn't defend the belt or anything, so it makes sense that this is the last thing we see. And, but again, open challenge. So many people do open challenges. I know this is a different company than WWE and NXT and all that, but again, we just see open challenges, and it's just a little like, can somebody actually earn the title shot? But see, Jungle Boy is one of those guys who I think actually deserve to have this title shot. And this match was really good. The whole story was, Jungle Boy, I forget what the submission is called, snap something, or not.
I think this is snap something. Yeah, he tried for that submission for
for whatever the submission is called, that's the one, like, he beat Dax Harwood with it and everything. They're like, nobody's gotten out of it. He kept trying to put that on Darby Allin. He kept getting to the ropes and stuff. And, these guys, like they said, Darby Allin's always the underdog. He always has to use his speed and his agility and his quickness to beat his opponents. But Jungle Boy's just as quick, just as elusive as Darby Allin. So it's, these guys were evenly matched, and that made the matchup, I think, a lot better. And the only part I really didn't like is, Darby Allin had Jungle Boy, and he was pinning him, and then Luchasaurus, he put his foot on the ropes or something?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he put his foot, and then Sting comes out, and they start brawling.
And I didn't like it for I didn't mind them brawling because it's like whatever, everybody brawls at this point. It's it's like whatever, I don't care anymore. But aren't they baby faces?
That's what I was gonna say.
Aren't they? Why would
brawling?
And that's what Luchasaurus. Well, not just that. Like JR said, he's like, oh, I don't agree with that. He's like, the ref saw it, and the ref, I guess it's his discretion that he didn't kick Luchasaurus out of there. And they were even saying like, oh, well, what the hell? They didn't want to be like, oh, they're good guys, because you don't say that. But it's like, baby faces don't do that. In a tag match, yeah, you'll break up the pin because it's a tag match. But you don't put the guy's foot on the ropes. That's a heel move. I didn't think the Jurassic Express were heels. But then, like you said, Sting gets in his face. They start exchanging forearms. And they just hug. They hug each other and walk into the tunnel.
Because the punches were weak. He tried to go for a clothesline, and Sting almost it was the end of it. So like you said, really poorly executed. That's the part that is really bad. Again, why can just stay right there as managers? That's okay. Have them, have the match contested, and whoever wins. That should have been the end of it. But then the Last Supper on Darby Allin, so that was good. He wins with that. Really cool move. I mean, it's not even a submission. It's just a pin attempt. He gets the win.
It's like he does the sharpshooter with locking up the legs, and then he just
turns you. Yes, but then we got to see more confusion, more clusterfuck, more chaos here. Also Lance Archer showed up. Also, we got to see Ethan Page. We got to see Scorpio. All of them.
Which makes no sense. I mean, I understand if you actually go, and hopefully Scorpio cuts his promo that says, hey, I had to go through hell in a ladder match to earn my title shot. Now they're just giving it out to anybody. That's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. That's what they should do. But what's Ethan Page doing there?
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying Ethan Page is the best thing since sliced bread, but, this guy, you debuted him, and he's done nothing.
Yes.
He literally came in, and another complete flop. And I hate how what did they call it? The ego's edge? No, you're not Razor Ramon. Don't be bullshit. So, get that out of here. But, unless Scorpio Sky cuts that promo, then to me this was, again, absolutely not Ricky Starks, but bullshit. And then you see Lance Archer coming down.
The fact that Sting comes out with the bat and everybody just runs, it makes it look so bad because, you always say, it's a 62-year-old man can scare, two men at their prime. Just because he has a bat. And, Lance Archer and Sting, you guys see the tease right there. So they're going to go at it, and it sucks because if you're Lance Archer, you're going to jump out to Sting one more time. And, how can you go the lowest? Yeah, you get the rub, like they say, but Sting is already...
There is no rub when your booker is a mark for everything that happened from 1997 to, 2001. That's when Tony Khan was in his bedroom watching WCW and WWF, and he wants to just recreate that. That's why you have all these old timers, and that's why you have every match like WCW ends in people running in, interference. I'm surprised we didn't see the cattle prod yet, or the finger poke of doom and all this stuff.
We have many months to go for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So but, that's what we got. At least match quality itself is certainly solid. It's just the endings of every single match need to be a little better. Keep it clean.
Yeah, bell to bell legit, but after the bell, that's when the bullshit really starts.
Well, it's after the bell. Even the name says it. Corey Graves' his show is shit, so as Dynamite, all of that. So after the bell, done, So family, this was Dynamite for every single one of you. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Help us out to keep growing. We're, 100 away from that 1,000. So please, be a helper, support us to get to that number. Also, like I said, get the like button so we can actually go in the high rankings a little higher. So what else, Paul?
And then make sure you follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, the original Rope Break on Instagram, and, of course, right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the original Rope Break.
Tomorrow, family, NXT UK, so we'll see you then. You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...